All right, shalom, 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 shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. First and foremost, I'd also like to give double honors to my elders, bishops, and apostles of Great Millstone that do root well. And I would like to say peace, safety, and salutations to the Lord's beloved elect, to the hopeful elected in 1/3. And Adon Ratazah, this lesson will be edifying as well as exhorting to the sincere sheep of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah Kodash, and the Wada Abanawa Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah Kodash. Forgive me the inspiration to do this lesson. And as the title reads, what does the elect mean to you? Okay, now I was watching the beloved elder from South Carolina's lesson. I was actually able to, watch it in its entirety. Let me show you that real quick. Which, this came out 3 days ago. All right, there's a lot of, just like Elder Pastor Hart said, you miss a day, you miss a lot. But look, here's another video 17 hours ago. And I just want to use this as an example or more of a talking point for the beloved brothers and few sincere sisters out there, that are truly serving Yahweh Bashim Yahushai in faith and sincerity and fear. All right, because I titled it, "What does the elect mean to you?" Because we know what the elect. Oh, look right there! I didn't even see that predestination. See, we know what the elect means. Okay, we understand the severity that yes, we are a chosen people. But within this walk, we understand that there is an elect within the elect. And really, when you think about it, this is a ongoing, narrative that we as a nation have dealt with, where the Lord would have, in particular, people within us. He would raise up judges or prophets or righteous men, and not every Israelite would always take heed to that. Well, now in today's time, we would call them 2/3. Okay, so when you see jakes that are, disannulling or disregarding or casting off this belief or this understanding or this nationality, the first thing that should come to your mind is, well, then that means they're not of the elect. Okay, now what was that actually? Is that First John 1:18? Let me get this real quick. If they had been of us, they would have continued with us. All right. Yep. First John 2:19. Excuse me. So let me get this real quick. This is First John. All right. Let me make sure I got none in here. We need to grab two. Let's actually go like this. Oh, excuse me. Let me unpin this. All right. Bring this over here. All right. Let's go to First John 2:19. Okay, we're in a different time, man, and a lot of Israelites are, this isn't, as Elder Pastor Hart coined it, it's not becoming so sexy to them anymore. Okay, and you got to be truly mindful of the times that we're in and the spirit that's even within you. You could be going through, I don't feel like doing lessons, I don't feel like reading, but we fight through all that, unlike the rest of Jake. See. This is First John 2:19. Let's actually start at 18. First John 2:18. It says, "Little children, it is the last time, and as ye have heard that Antichrist shall come, even now are there many anti-Hamashiach." So Jakes that are, not taking heed to this truth, coming up another way, they are ultimately anti-Yahushai, because the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is prophecy, to raise up the house of David, to seal the elect within their foreheads. So when you have Israelites that know that they're Israelites and they're boldly bucking up against this or disregarding it, they're in an anti-Yahushai spirit. But when you see that, whereby we know that it is the last time, they went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would no doubt have continued with us, but they went out that they might be made manifest, that they were not all of us. See? So we have the understanding to know that this is a predestination. We have the understanding that there's no free will. We have the understanding that the will of the Lord is going to take place. And there's in particular prophecies that keep us on this sober mindset to understand that even though this is for the Lord's people, not all of the Lord's people is going to come back to this truth and receive it as the Lord's people. Which, real quick, Romans 9. Okay, and I'm gonna get another precept. This is Romans 9 and 6. It says, "Not as though the word of the Most High has taken none effect, for they are not all Israel which are of Israel." So we understand when we see individuals like this, really where it's coming from. But I titled this lesson in a manner so that you yourself out there can understand. If you don't, maybe you're new, maybe you're learning, and you need to understand why individuals will act like this and showcase this blatantly online, because ultimately the Lord is not dealing with them. So the same way we have a predestinated, we also have a predestinated to be judged too. You know, we got a predestinated, and then you got a pre-condemnation. All right. Now I'm gonna just let a little bit play, but just check this out. All right. Just want to do this real quick.
Didn't care about the Sabbath anymore and being a Hebrew Israelite in the law. The moment I knew I didn't care about the Sabbath anymore and being.
And right there is a lack of discernment. Okay. I really want to let this play in its entirety, but the Lord has blessed us with the spirit to dissect these things. Okay. The mere fact that she just said, the minute I knew, is two things. One, Proverbs, you leaned on your own understanding. And two, the understanding that you leaned on was deceitful above all things. This is why it says, Psalms 119 and 104, through thy precepts I get understanding. Through thy precepts I get understanding. Therefore I hate every false way. And the first false way you should hate is the way that this mind will try to think when it's against Yahweh Shem Shai. You should hate how this fleshly mind tries to think, or even the demons that try to tempt you. But we battle so much that while we're in the midst of fighting, we've been given the ability to be sober in the spirit, to acknowledge that Yahweh Shem Shai is watching us having this spiritual sparring session. So these are great examples to show you. See, this is why you're dealing with a woman. You have to have her full brain, okay? Because if not, and they're walking in this mindset right here, they're going to be easily overtaken, okay? And ultimately, it's because they're not of the elect of the elect. Because yes, we as a nation are the elect, but according to prophecy, there's only an elected remnant that will be delivered out of Babylon. And this is how you are witnessing the characteristics of a non-elect, a non-house of David. Okay?
Being a Hebrew Israelite and the laws and everything like that is my son. When my son was in the hospital last summer for 30 days, he was 2 at the time, and it was hard, and he was crying a lot and whining a lot and throwing a lot of tantrums. How you in the hospital throwing tantrums?
Well, I mean, that's adversity. That's real life situations. And a lot of our people don't understand what the walk of an elect Israelite is. Look at the true men of the Lord. Look at Job. Look at King David. Look at Ezekiel. Look at Jeremiah. Look at Yahweh Shai. A lot of our people have been set up to learn that they're Israelites by false camps to be destroyed. It's a scary narrative, but it's also a true one, because remember, Yahweh Shai said, my sheep hear my voice. So if you are an Israelite and you are following a false camp, then you are actually being led down a path of destruction if the Lord has not set it up for you to come across the true men of the Lord, to get the proper understanding, guidance, and be able to receive that spirit if the Lord increases you. Okay, because she also mentions Saturday being the Sabbath. Well, that right there is a red flag. Okay, because we know that the Sabbath, for one, even if it falls on a Saturday, which it can and it will, it does not mean that every Saturday now means that is the Sabbath day. Saturday didn't come out, I think, until the Roman Empire. Saturday wasn't invented until the 9th century. Saturday is actually a commemorated day to Satan, all right, or Saturn.
You know what I'm saying? But I went to the coffee shop every single day. And I think the first Saturday I was there, I didn't get anything. But then the next Saturday I was there, I was like, I don't think I care about this anymore. And so,
and I always say it, when it comes to majority of Eve on this side in captivity, she has a demon, she has a demonic design where she is a woman before a nation. This is why the scriptures say, my flock and my pasture is of men. This is why the 144,000 are 12,000 elect Israelite men from the respected 12 tribes. And then the innumerable multitude is the body of believers that sprinkle under that teaching and tutelage that are going to come from all nations, including here in Babylon as well. Okay, you need to take heed to this. This is a scary, reprobate, 2/3 predestinated to be destroyed mindset that you do not want to be in. This is why I title it, do you know what the elect is? Or what does the elect mean to you? Okay, because you got other Israelites where they have no problem sitting and talking about knowing that they're Israelites, but then they have a problem with the camps that are teaching in season and out of season, and that the camps are not of the elect, but then they say there might be elect within these camps. Strong delusion. Let me get that. Strong delusion. This is 2 Thessalonians 2:11. And for this cause, the Most High shall send them strong delusions that they should believe a lie. So what you're witnessing is individuals for their own reasons, okay, are believing a lie. But there's in particular lies or situations that happen that cause them to renounce this, okay? But you can't renounce being a Hebrew Israelite. What this is showing is right here, Jude 1:4. It says, for there are certain men and women, for there are certain men crept in unawares who were before of old ordained to this condemnation. See? So you have men that are set up to come in and be stumbling blocks, be wicked, be false prophets. Remember the scriptures say the children having done any good nor evil. It also says the creature was subject to vanity. So what you're witnessing is the very scary side of Yahweh Shemel Shai's will of necessary evil. I do not want my lot to be of a vessel of necessary evil in the end days. So this is why the elect carry themselves in a very sobering, spiritual, examining mindset. We're constantly checking, making sure the precepts are correct, doing this, doing that, which really that's the bride. That's the 5 wise virgins getting herself ready before her groom comes. But then you have another portion of Israelites that are kind of, they just go here, they go there. I'm kind of learning. I don't know if I want to learn. They think that this is a choice. They think that they have an option. So those are very telling signs of an individual that lacks spiritual discernment and fear. Okay, you're holding your baby in your arm, because the Lord gives children. The Lord says, I kill, I make alive. The Lord allows us to even have children. So for you to renounce your God, your Savior, your heritage, all in the name of a cup of coffee and a Rice Krispie treat, because the child that came out of your womb may have had some issues, it's very telling to show you how quickly Jake will throw the Lord off of them. Okay, and I want to push that for you, brothers and sisters. Remember, even Job said, let me grab this real quick, and this has been heavy on my spirit, though he slay me. Do you understand it? Do you know what it's like, okay, to be a servant of Yahweh Shemel Shai, and you've been in a position of to be slayed or to be, gone through something you might not want to have gone through or dealt with or dealing with, and you still sit there with your spiritual head on high, that's a different walk. That's a different servant. And not every Israelite can handle that. Job 13:15, though he slay me, yet I will trust in him, but I will maintain my own ways before him. So the point is that though we go through situations that may not be to our liking, that does not mean now we have the luxury to say, okay, I'm good. That's that American girlfriend bullshit, where, and I've been, and, it's a spirit. I've been saying this so much lately. I said, they can leave. We can't. See, they can leave. Oh, matter of fact, even Apostle Peter, he said, where are we going to go? Where am I going to go? That's how we are. See, they got options. Okay. They got options. We don't have options. We don't, all our eggs are in one basket. And like the late, great Kobe Bryant said, hey, you put all your eggs in one basket, make some more eggs. I got to look it up. But, the point is, hey, we're not afraid that we put all our eggs in one basket. This is what we believe in. And that's what how the elect would be carrying themselves. All right. This is John 6. And let me go down. John 6. Check this out, man. This is John 6. And let's see. Look, some men left. Okay. Some men left. I haven't brought this out in a while. Whew. Let me see. Spirit quickeneth. Some believe, betray. Right here. John 6 and 66. 2/3. It says, from that time, many of his disciples, Yahushai's disciples, went back and walked no more with him. Then said Yahushai unto the 12, will ye also go away? See, Yahushai can't leave. You see, we can't leave. See, these other Israelites, okay, they have this deceitful notion that they can just pick it up and put it down when they want. Like I said, I was watching the elder do the video on it, and immediately the first thing that came to my mind was jabbing at the angle of the elect. This is a great example. The minute that she stated, when she said she was done with it, 2 violations that you were not applying: leaning on your own understanding, and not realizing that the heart or the mind is desperately wicked, meaning this mind will find ways to convince you of enacting something that really you shouldn't be doing. That's why it's a fight. That's why it's a battle. But this is why only the elect in the spirit are going to be able to overcome these things and not throw it off, which it even says that in the scriptures, where a fool will throw off wisdom because it's too much. It's too much for him. And all it took was a cup of coffee to take her ass out. Damn, a cup of coffee? And it says right here, John 6 and 67, then said Yahushua to the 12, will ye also go away? Right. You see, because the elect ain't going nowhere. All these other people, these non-elect of the elect, okay, because we know we're an elect nation, because you got we're the elect. But there's a remnant that's going to be delivered, okay? It says, then Simon Peter answered him, Lord, to whom shall we go? Exactly. Where are we going to go? Okay, where are we going to go? All right, where are we going to go? In 2025, in the end of this thing, even in the beginning, there ain't nowhere else to go. There ain't none else out here. The Lord's got it set up to where we need to be in this truth, okay? It says, thou has the words of eternal life. Right, where are you going to go? You're going to go to Sonetta? Where are you going to go? You're going to go to vocab? You're just going to go back into the world and just be a black person working and getting taxed? You're going to go back into the world and just try to find something to cuddle with? Come on, man. It says, and we believe and are sure. See, you got to not only believe, but also be sure. And I believe Yahushua, he was speaking to Timothy when he said, not only have faith, but believe. And it says, and we believe and are sure that thou art that anointed, the Son of the living power. So see, what these Israelites are showing you is they don't believe. Hence why they believe they have the option to either put it on or take it off. What's this?
I went down there and I got me some coffee and I felt great. I got a Rice Krispie treat. And I didn't care. Ate some marshmallow.
So she knew that Rice Krispie treat also had pork in it. All right. Because if I'm not mistaken, a lot of Rice Krispie has pork in it. Let's see real quick. Rice Krispie has pork. Let me see. Yes, commercial Rice Krispie treats can contain pork gelatin. So right here, okay, that you're witnessing the overthrowing of the mind in real time, and also a condemning, because Yahweh Shai said, by thy words you are justified or condemned. So you're looking at a condemned individual, but we understand this. We're not marveling, even though the scriptures say marvel not ye trespass. We're not marveling in general, because we know that there's a portion of Israel that are not going to take heed, i.e. 2/3. See? So what does the elect mean to you? Does the elect just mean, oh, we're an elected nation? Or does the elect mean to you, no, I know this is about the house of David. I know this is about the predestinated. I know this is about the 144,000 and the 1/3. That's what I know. Because a lot of our people are in this mindset of, once they know they're Israelites, now there's nothing else they got to do but just wear fringes and everything's going to be okay. Wrong.
Care. I just didn't care.
Oh, I did not. It says pretty much you got to be mindful in all things. And it says the simple pass on and are punished. You should care. It says to be accepted of Yahweh Bashem El Shai, you have to fear. So when you're dealing with Jake that is not fearing and don't care, walk away. That is an individual that's getting ready to be judged, and I wouldn't even want to be in the vicinity, okay? Because in these last days, you need to truly fear Yahweh Bashem El Shai, okay? Don't be playing, don't be tempting, all right? Don't be nah, man, listen. If the Lord show you his other side, yeah, you're going to be mindful in the actions you take. Now, if the Lord was dealing with her or her household, I'll say first, okay, then chastisement, okay. It also says, he that suffer in the flesh cease from sin. So there's things that happen behind the scenes that are keeping the hopeful elect hopeful. But when you're dealing with other Israelites that have this prosperity, black glowing family unit, fringe Saturday, hey, shalom, you got to watch out for that. Okay, because they haven't been touched. And if they ain't been touched, meaning chastised or disciplined, because they're bastards, meaning that means Yahweh Bashem El Shai is not dealing with them, and that's scary.
And I had given up on the Bible probably 6 months.
Who said you could give up? See, I know I'm supposed to live. Who told you this was an option? See, that's what I'm saying. That's Satan. Who told you that you had the choice to give up? You see, this is that American, Western, cheap, drunk, Babylonian wine, liquor mindset where the woman, okay, because I really be looking at how our women are, and I see why the Lord, he used the law of marriage, towards us, because the way these women act in Babylon, that's how Jake be acting. Like, bitch, who told you that you can go be single? I betrothed you. You're mine. See? But just like how these women are, this is how 2/3 act. 2/3 act like a gadding abroad, unfaithful bitch. Let me say it just like that.
6 months prior, I had stopped reading the Bible. So there's like a certain freedom, I guess, of, kind of giving up on.
But it says we're not to use our liberty as a cloak of maliciousness. So look at how grace took her out, meaning having grace where you have the ability, all right, to seek the Lord while he may be found. But it also says a child left to themselves will become willful. Okay. And then people got a problem why we tell, in particular women how they need to be handled, because look at how you act when you ain't being handled correctly. That's why I said, don't let a wicked woman gad abroad. Let me get some more precepts, man, because I'm not trying to make it all about this. This is Isaiah 1:9. Except Yahweh Bashem El Shai of hosts had left unto us a very, 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 left unto us a very small remnant, we should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah. So imagine if we didn't have these precepts and we didn't have this understanding, and we carried ourselves with the mindset like the majority of these other camps, these false camps that teach basically we won't get delivered till Jake comes back to the law. So now what happens? So you get all these Jakes, You got them all wearing fringes, and then now you start seeing videos of I denounce Hebrew Israelites. So with that logic, you would be stuck here forever. This is why the precepts give us understanding, and they also give us comfort, because we don't care when we see Jake saying, I am no longer. We don't care. That's because that means you're not of the elect. You're not of the elect. The elect has been predestinated, just like the 2/3 non-elect have been predestinated for salvation and condemnation. On one aspect, we're a smell of life, and then on another aspect, we're the smell of death. You see? So real quick, let me get some more precepts. This is Amos 9 and 11. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, which is why you see Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom together. And another thing, there's a heavy all black Hebrew Israelite movement within the understanding of us as a nation, and y'all about to fall away too. All that just black only shit, y'all about to fall away too, because you're still in that spirit of Ephraim envy Judah, Judah vexing Ephraim. You know, we're coming together in the spirit here. All right. Well, you got these 2/3 that are just set up as chaos goblins causing confusion, but the elect will not be deceived. It says, and I will raise up his ruins. So we're being raised up out of ruins. But then you got Jake throwing it off. Like, no, I just want to be ruined. I want to be through. I just want to be an American. You see? They in that I want to be an American spirit. It says, and I will build it as in the days of old. So there is a building taking place. There is a building taking place. And you didn't just get fired, you quit. That's why it says you got to count the cost. That's why it says you take your hand off the plow, you're not fit for the kingdom. That's why Yahushua said you got to carry your cross. So right here is an example of how 2/3 think they don't got to carry their cross. They don't got to count the cost. Okay. And they can serve whatever master they want. They got this I can do what I want spirit. That's self-willed. Oh, that's pulling the shoulder. That's also being stiff-necked, but that's because they're not of the elect. That's why I titled it, What Does the Elect Mean to You? Because what it means to me is there is a there is a predestinated set of Israelites, okay, no matter the color. All right, because we know we woken up to who we are as Israelites while looking like or being called minorities, but we also know that we have Israelites that are amongst the other nations as well. And anybody that comes from out of these nations bearing this truth with faith, no matter what they look like, we know because that their spirit, they're Israelite, and then they'll get their color back. Ephesians 1 and 4 says, it says, according as he has chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, before you had a baby, before you had a wife, before you had a breath, before you had a thought, before you had a temptation, before the smoke in the chimneys of Zion blew. Okay, there's been an elect already established. That's what you got to remember, man. Okay, so don't get caught up. Don't get caught up in the bubble of Babylon, man. Don't get caught up in some girl or some this or some want. Look, man, we got wives we ain't meet yet, slaves we ain't beat yet, and wine we ain't drink yet. We waiting to get out of here. But I'm telling you, Satan is crafty. He uses things in the here and now to work on their mind to ultimately fulfill the Lord's will. I don't want to be a partaker of that. Okay, and it says that we should be holy and without blame before him in love, having predestinated us. Then you got this agent. Okay, I look at him as an agent, General Mahaiman, I think his name is. I never trusted him. You know, Yahushua said, my sheep hear my voice. We're sheep too. I never trusted him. You know what he said? I never trusted that guy. I never trusted him. But I never trust him. And now he's talking about there's no predestination. So at this point, man, I'm telling you, the last thing is going to be the MOTB, because if you're not wanting to get out of these camps now from the things that they're doing as far as from saying John the Baptist fell out the truth, you can take the jump shot, you can do have sex on the Sabbath. You know, if these things ain't moving you to get away from these men now, The only thing is, if you're of the elect, then it's going to have to be the mark of the beast. Because the Lord said, even in the wilderness, flee ye the tents of these wicked men. And then what did the Lord do? He opened the earth up on them. So the Lord about to start judging Jake, man. It says, having predestinated us unto the adoption of the children by Yahushua HaMashiach to himself, according to the good pleasure of his will. See? So the elect is all about predestination, baby. There ain't nothing we could do, ain't nothing you could do. All right. Everyone is going to fall in their lot in the last days. But what this is a prime example to show you is how Satan can sift you if you're not of the elect. I finally realized that I stopped caring. No, that was a demon that worked on your mind, and you were void of judgment. You're a reprobate, silly woman knowing nothing, and you got overtooken. Okay. And this can happen and will happen to men and women. This is why the men are the heads. Okay. Because we're the heads. That's why Job said, you sound like one of them stupid women. And I equate that today is like, you sound like one of them dumb women on TikTok. You see? And if you can't handle being rebuked and corrected, you're going to fall by the wayside too. This is why Yahushua said, remember Lot's wife. Okay. Because we're over here fighting, praying, and fearing. But if you got other people that ain't fighting, ain't praying, and ain't fearing, well, that's on your ass. Because I want to get on that ark. And if the Lord seal it and you ain't on it, ain't nothing we could do about it. We are in a time of seeking our own salvation while the Lord may be found. And we got to call on him while he is near. And other people, they calling on Tyrone, they calling on TikTok, they calling vocab. They ain't doing nothing real because they're showing who they are in the spirit. Okay. And that's scary because that's ultimately the will of the Lord taking place. One more, Matthew 24:22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And you don't have other camps pushing the the beautiful ministry of awakening of the Lord's elect that's taking place. The elect is guaranteed. The elect is it's like Jake wants to go with a team that's why you want to go with the house of Saul? Why would you not want to be with the house of David? You know, the elect is guaranteed. Yahweh Shai's will is guaranteed. Why would you want anything less than that? The literal days are being shortened for the Lord's elect's sake, and that's not important to you. But getting a fucking cup of coffee, I'm just using this example, but like this is the mindset of 2/3 of our people. So just stay away, walk away, block their number. Don't let their bugged out, empty-brained thought process spill over onto you and cause you to be tainted. Apostle Paul told the Philippians before his departure that you should seek your own salvation with fear and trembling. This is an example of being of a non-elect, non-fear, non-trembling, but soon they will know death by pain through fear and trembling, even though the unfaithful shall die in the unfaithfulness. Very scary thing, but a very big, much reality in this walk that we're in that not a lot of Israelites are thinking about, meditating upon, or even understanding. Jake doesn't understand the concept between 1/3 and 2/3. As a matter of fact, let me actually grab that in Zechariah 13:8. I must. Okay, let's show you the distinction. Let's show you the there's a great separation that's getting ready to take place, man. And it ain't funny. This is Zechariah 13:8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land of Babylon, because when the elect come down, we're going to go through the earth and there will be believers outside of Babylon and non-believers. And the non-believers will be judged. Okay. So it says 2 parts therein in Babylon shall be cut off and die through the thermonuclear missiles after the mandatory marking of the beast. But the 3rd shall be left therein, and I will bring the 3rd part through the fire and will refine them as silver is refined and will try them as gold is tried. See, one of the biggest things in this walk is you being tried. You can be, Shalom, what's up, brother? Yeah, Esau going into slavery. Yeah, what's up? You can be super duper Israelite. But until you're being tried, until you're going through adversity, until you're actually being put to the test to see how you react and handle things, that's when you really know who you are. See? Even Joker said it. He said people show you who they are before death. So he said, I know your friends better than you do. And he was right, because we deal with people that act happy and cool and calm until they're in a situation where you're not going to be happy, you're not going to be cool, and you're definitely not going to be calm. That's where we want to see who you are. Not meaning me, but that's where you'll know where you're at. You'll know your weaknesses. You'll know your strengths. It says, they shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord is my power. See? But when you got Jake saying, I'm not an Israelite no more, well, you're not the Lord's people. How, if you're saying you're not an Israelite no more, then how can you fulfill, how are you going to partake in a prophecy where you're going to call on the Israelites' God's name? And then the Israelites' God is going to say, oh, those who are calling on me, because that's my people. See? So, hey, that's a wrong thing you want to do. Salvation is only for Israel, and you got actual Israelites denouncing being an Israelite, and hence they're not going to be delivered. Woo, scary. Scary thing. Wouldn't want to be in that household. Wouldn't want to be in that household. That'd be a long-ass conversation with her. Just get my son and get out. All right. I'm gonna end it there. You know, it's a Sabbath, so I'm just gonna chill. All right. So I pray that this lesson was edifying, comforting, and most importantly, exhorting. And I just want to say, call halal abanawa Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai Bahashem Rachakwadash. Double honors to my elders, bishops, and apostles of Great Millstone that do well. Peace, safety, and salutations to the Lord's beloved elect. And with that being said, shalom.